Welcome everyone. My name's Elizabeth, and I'm just going to give a little bit of a brief intro. You can see my colleagues around me here on the screen. We have Charlotta and Rebecca and Linus, and we will all talk about our respective programs, our MSCs in archaeology today, different topics. So, welcome. We are going to talk about, as I said, a couple of different strands we have in our MSCs at the Archaeology department at University of Aberdeen. And we're going to tell you about their specificities, but also the general sort of idea of what we're doing here and why it's such a great place to go. So right now also we want to highlight that there is this 8,000 tuition fee waiver for international PGT students. So we're happy, and hopefully you're happy too, that it's slightly less money to go and join us right now. So starting with our 6 different programs, Linus is going to go first, and he's going to talk about the biomolecular and the bioarchaeological science MSCs. Meanwhile, while we're talking, it would be great to hear a little bit about you and maybe something about your background, your names, what programs you're interested in, and the Q&A. So that way we'll know how to sort of best reply to you later on. We'll have a Q&A at the end where we'll answer all your questions for about 30 minutes. So there we go. Linus.
Great. Thank you, Elizabeth. My name is Linus. I'm the program coordinator for the MSc in Biomolecular Archaeology, as well as the MSc in Bioarchaeological Science. And these are 2 programs that are quite similar, but fundamentally different. So the MSc in Biomolecular Archaeology combines the study of ancient biomolecules, so mainly ancient DNA, a bit of proteins, stable isotopes, and those types of things, with fairly advanced but still manageable, even if you don't have a strong background in such research or in such science. So courses in genetics and bioinformatics in our biomedical school. So in semester 1, you would take the introductory course in archaeology to ancient biomolecules, as well as a course in molecular genetics. Again, that's based in the Forest Hill Medical School campus. And on that campus, you would also take the bioinformatics course. In semester 2, you would continue with a kind of deep dive in paleogenetics. So that's the study of ancient DNA. And again, here you can continue either with further courses in genetics and bioinformatics, like advanced genomic tools in biomedical research and advanced bioinformatics and genome sequencing, or you could reroute into more archaeology themed program. You would then take the advanced archaeological approaches course, which is a kind of deep dive into various theoretical and practical aspects of archaeological research more generally. So you can tailor your preferred kind of route through this program. This wide range of different courses and different skills really helps equip you with both the theoretical and practical skills for analyzing ancient biomolecules. So the bioarchaeological science program shares the ancient biomolecules and the paleogenetics course, so the study of ancient proteins and lipids and those types of things, also the study of ancient DNA. However, this program is more geared towards archaeology in general, and it combines the study, where it offers the opportunity to combine your study with osteology. So the program and the courses a couple of the courses that Rebecca offers. So apart from then studying ancient biomolecules in semester 1, you would also take either theory and methods in archaeological research or the human osteology course. So either very practically oriented, you'd spend most of your time in a lab in Rebecca's course, or you would opting to study the theory and methods in archaeological research, which is more kind of looking at the research historical context of archaeology in general. In semester 2, we continue with the paleogenetics course, just as I said, and here you have the opportunity to either take advanced archaeological approaches or ancient health and disease, which is another course that Rebecca runs in her osteology lab. So we combine various modes of learning and teaching, and these are photographs I've taken over the past couple of years of our students in various classes. To your top left, you have our students taking the paleogenetics course, learning how to extract DNA and construct next generation sequencing libraries and all kinds of stuff that we do in regular ancient DNA research. And I want to emphasize here that we actually teach the real protocols that we use in research, and this really helps equip you with the kind of cutting edge laboratory skills that's required, not only for if you want to continue in ancient DNA research, but if you want to go into a pathway, work as a laboratory technician or something like that. We then have a lecture and some other labs. The third image there to your top is an animal osteology practical that Edouard, our colleague, gives in the Advanced Archaeological Approaches course. And then we have a couple of images of seminars we run and various other labs that we offer. So it's really a combination of labs, lectures, seminars that really forms the core of our modes of learning and teaching. And lastly, you will do, and last but not least by any means, a dissertation in archaeological science in semester 3. So the summer semester is really where you put most emphasis and time on writing up your dissertation research. And we give you the opportunity to either design from scratch your own project, which we can support with some funding, or should I say, co-design your project together with staff. So maybe we can offer kind of smaller projects within our existing research that will really help you embed within a larger research project, which is a good skill and experience to have. The topics and themes we have had dissertations on ranges from human and animal ancient DNA, human and animal stable isotope data. We've had students work with proteomics, so the analysis of ancient proteins. It's quite common for our students to integrate with Marshall Museum and their collection, so that's the archaeological kind of research, archaeological collection of objects and artifacts that is kept at Marshall Museum, which is an Aberdeen University of Aberdeen museum, and we've had some students working together with Rebecca and her lab also to kind of co-design and co-create a research project. And lastly, we've had students in terms of job opportunities and the types of skills that we offer on a kind of general basis, have enabled students go into careers in biomedical research as laboratory technicians for the NHS, for example. Other students have gone on to do PhDs either in ancient DNA or bioarchaeology in general, or into professional archaeology where such skills are required. So we've had a fairly high success rate, shall we say, in our students continuing with PhD research if they've decided to pursue that pathway. Yes, okay, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Linus. Hi, everyone. My name's Rebecca Crozier, and I run the MSc in osteoarchaeology. So you'll already be aware by now, I hope. There's a little bit of overlap with Linus's courses and my courses, which is actually a real bonus because we get to create a bit more of a community here as well. And this slide is just showing you on the right is from one of our field trips with last year's cohort up to Orkney, which I'll talk about in a second. And on the bottom left there, you can have a little peek inside our current lab facility and some of this year's cohort busy studying skeletons. So basically, what is osteoarchaeology? What will you study? So essentially, human osteoarchaeology reconstructs the very people that made the archaeological record, lives, health, disease, death. So it's encompassing quite a wide range of topics. So similar breakdown to Linus. So term 1, you select a core course, which is human osteology. And then you choose either theory and method in research or ancient biomolecules. And what we find with the osteoarchaeology is because the nature of it, it does kind of bridge humanities and science. You get this really nice coming together, these sort of arenas that we do get students taking both. We get some are more humanities based, some are more science based, but again, you get this nice integration with other students from across the cohorts. That's quite fun. But basically with the human osteology, you'll be learning how to identify the human skeleton and apply basic biological identification techniques, so aging, sexing, stature, and you'll be able to construct your own bone report by the end of the term. In term 2 then, you're going to choose the core course, which is Ancient Health and Disease. And this is essentially looking at disease in the past, but also we spend the first sort of half looking at the big numbers, so looking at paleodemography as well, which you really need to get your head around, so you know what to do with the data that you gather and how to interpret the story, basically. And then you choose either the archaeology of death or advanced archaeological approaches. So Linus already mentioned advanced archaeological approaches, and I know Lotta and Elizabeth will be talking about that a little bit later, but I can just tell you for now that the archaeology of death is basically what it says on the tin. So this is a much more humanities-based approach. You don't need to know about the human skeleton. This is also open to students from the archaeology cohort. And this is quite a thematic approach to the body. So we center the body rather than talking about, 1 week cremation, the next week inhumation. We're sort of looking at much more complex concepts, I guess. But we do have a lovely field trip involved in that as well. And then term 3, and basically throughout, you'll be working towards a dissertation. So quite early on in term 1, we'll get you to select a research topic. And we'll have milestones along the way in line with the rest of the master's cohort to help you develop and design your own research. So all the classes, as you can imagine, with human remains, the only way to learn it is to actually work with the real thing. So you will have an enormous amount of lab work. We have the labs available to MSc Osteo pretty much Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. You are essentially, aside from several weeks, the only ones who will be using that facility, and myself and my colleague will also be in there quite regularly, checking in on you guys and also doing some of our own research. So that's quite a nice opportunity to chat with us as well throughout the week. So lots and lots of lab work, lots of practical work, also combined with lectures. Generally, everything happens on a Monday. For human osteology and ancient health and disease, lecture in the morning, lab all afternoon. Then you have the rest of the week to consolidate your learning. And we have different sort of activities for you to be working on throughout the week. We also have seminars and, of course, the field trip. And on the bottom right there is one of our previous students from last year having a great time trying to crawl into a Neolithic tomb in Orkney, which is where we go on the field trip with some other classes from across the department. So another master's class and also some undergrads. So that's a really fantastic trip. The collections that you'll be working on and having access to. So Linus already mentioned the Marshall collection. So here at the University of Aberdeen, they have a very extensive collection of human remains, all from Northeast Scotland. And you will have access to these. We also have within our own department, mostly medieval, but we do have Neolithic, Bronze Age as well. So a nationally significant collection, very little work done on them so far. So actually for OsteoArch students, it's a really fantastic opportunity to work with some really exciting people, I suppose I should say. So over the years, and this program is relatively new, we've been running it since 2018. And we have students that have gone on to work in contract work in the US, Canada, the UK, Ireland. We have successful PhDs going through from Australia, USA. And I've just had actually our very first cohort from 2018 has just submitted her PhD last Thursday, which is really nice, on Bronze Age cremations. So that sort of thing is available as well. And other interesting jobs people have got on to do. We have someone who's working for the British Museum Collection Centre. And one of our former students has just gone out to Australia on an exchange to work with an Australian company. So it's pretty great.
All right. That's me. I'll take over. So yeah, my name is Elizabeth Nicholson and I run the MSc Cultural Heritage. So this is one of those programs that we have this interesting intersection between the culture sector, the heritage sector, and archaeology, which is the specific focus. But it's a little bit of a broader degree. Here you see one of my cohorts on a field trip at Donatar Castle, one of our local sites, and another one from a field trip we did to Orkney. So for this degree, we have two core courses, which is managing the past and managing the present. I think today we can say we're struggling with the second one a little bit. But the first one is focusing on the basics, the heritage politics and practice, things you need to know to work with heritage, whether you want to work with managing a heritage site, a castle someday, if you want to work with a heritage agency, or if you want to go into archaeology and you want to do PhD or you want to excavate. There's a lot of things available if you take this degree. So the second course, Managing the Present, is about communities in particular and representation. So a lot of the challenges and dilemmas we face working in today's environments. So 3 specific tracks. So some of the courses have already been introduced, but if you're interested in culture and museums in general, have some optionals available that you can choose from that involves museum, one that is with anthropology. And I also have a course called Public Sector and the Arts. So if you want to go more into that field and learn about communication, which is a core focus of that course. So that's like broadening the degree a bit. If you want to keep with the sort of heritage as in physical sites, you would want to take the heritage sector track. So here you want to mix it with some of the other archaeology courses we have that are focusing on theory and on methods. But yeah, this can also be mixed with other sort of courses from other disciplines as well. So the archaeological heritage track is more if you're really interested in go a little bit into the sciencey aspect of archaeology, get a little bit of lab work under your belt, but also if you want to go on some of the exciting field trips we have and learn more about archaeology as a profession. So if you want to hone in on that. The dissertation, you can make, there's 2 choices here. You can do an independent research project. So I'm happy to discuss and help you choose a topic. Maybe it's something you worked on before that you really have a keen personal interest in. Or you maybe want to do a workplace-based report, essentially. So you work for an organization in Aberdeen or in the general area that works with heritage, like the Aberdeen City Heritage Trust or the archives and museums here. And then you come up with your topic together with this institution, and you work with them either from their office over the summer, or you do more of an independent project where you come in maybe once a week and work with the institution. So you will study through lectures, we will have seminars. I like to invite experts from Historic Environment Scotland and people who actually work with heritage and selecting what gets to be preserved for the future. There's some excursions and field trips. So we go both to local sites, 1-day trips. Sometimes we do several days as well. Independent research is a big part, of course. So all of these pictures are from the learning environment, essentially. So my former students, you can see in the corner here, we have Alex Hale from Historic Environment Scotland talking about how graffiti can be a type of heritage as well. So trying to challenge taken for granted ideas about what heritage is. We also, and this is a key feature of the course, we develop a real community heritage project. So this is completely student-led. I'm there, of course, overseeing it, but essentially, as a student, you choose what topic you want to work with together. And then we reach out to Aberdeen communities, trying to garner some interest. And we also work in archives and we do field surveys and different things. So here are photographs from different projects that my students have done in the past. One on World War II air raid shelters, one on mental asylum from the 19th century. And who the people who were put there or who stayed there. And then one from this year where we talked about actually something, the smelly legacy of Aberdeen. We talked about sewage and toilets, essentially, how that worked in the 18th and 19th centuries. So When you have this degree, you can go into heritage and archaeology careers of different types, work for some of the big trusts or agencies dealing with heritage. You can also go into planning and conservation to make decisions about how the urban landscapes, how they should take heritage into account going forward. Maybe I have a couple that actually went straight into archaeology that didn't come from archaeology. They had other types of backgrounds like cultural studies, or one had conservation degree, and they wanted to excavate, so they actually could do that with this degree, even if there's a learning curve, of course. Museums and collections, archives, a couple of students have gone into archive work, and then policy and community engagement. One of my former students from last year is working with ICOMOS, an international body for heritage preservation. So, and tourism and education, which is a huge field. So I have a couple of students who also gone into teaching essentially and work with history and heritage as teachers. So I'm moving on to Lotta.
Hello everyone, I'm Charlotta Hilledal. I'm the program coordinator for the MSc of Archaeology of the North and also MSc in Archaeology. So I'm going to talk about these two programs parallel to each other. The MSc Archaeology of the North is pretty much what it says on the tin. We're focusing on Northern archaeology, and both from a perspective of surviving the challenges as people living in the north, and the subsistence strategies and the kind of developments that is particular for northern communities, and also a little bit of a focus on archaeology and the kind of archaeological aspects of the north. And the Archaeology of the North is the kind of focus of the department of archaeology in Aberdeen. So it's well integrated with the research and the research topics that we have in Aberdeen, and that's typical for all our teaching actually in all our archaeology programs, that it's very research led. And you'll see a lot of kind of current ideas popping up in the lectures. The MSc Archaeology is a more kind of open-ended program in a way. You have the possibility of putting your program together more on your own from the different choices of courses that we have within the department in MSc. And you can take courses from bioarchaeology, you can take courses from cultural heritage, you can also take death, as Rebecca mentioned. So you can kind of pull your own things together. We also offer GIS and other choices outside of the department. So in the first term in the Archaeology of the North program, you have the Northern Worlds Focus course, and then a theory and method in research, which you've heard mentioned a few times. It's an optional for several of the other programs as well. And both of these provides a kind of background that you need to understand Northern archaeology more specifically, but also the theory and method in research course is very much focused on how to build your own project, and is very good grounding for then doing your own dissertation, which you also will start doing in the term one, even though it doesn't show up until summer, basically, in the course structure. In archaeology, your core course is the theory and method course, and then you have a choice again of different courses. And then in term two, with the Archaeology of the North program, we continue to focus on Northern peoples and culture. This also includes a residential field trip to Orkney. And in the Northern Worlds, you have the choices again of focusing on whatever you feel inclined towards: Viking archaeology, Eurasian archaeology, and so on. And here within the Viking archaeology is also a very exciting field trip to Shetland. So the way we teach in most of the courses in this program is lecture and seminar structure. So you have a lecture introducing the topic, and then you have followed by a discussion seminar. And this is a kind of basic structure for most of the courses. Some courses are more lecture heavy. Some courses focus much more on the discussion part. So we also have workshops that are more student-led and kind of focused. And then we have a good portion of field trips included in the teaching as well. Some here within Aberdeen and Aberdeenshire, and some going a bit further to, as I mentioned, Orkney and Shetland. And merged with this, of course, you have a lot of self-led study. There is a lot of reading involved in these courses, so you'll have a lot to read constantly as well to kind of build your knowledge here. These programs, Archaeology of the North, is the first program that we had in the department, which is quite a young department. Even though we belong to old university, we were funded in 2007, but the Archaeology of the North program have been around for most of this time. So we have a lot of students that have gone through our program. We have students who are now working commercially in the UK, in Europe, also in CRM in North America, in the US and Canada. We have students who work within the museum section and tourism and education as well. And then we have a quite large percentage of students who continued on in the academic world doing their PhDs, and some of them are now beyond that doing postdocs or even lecturing themselves. So there's a lot of options that you have with this program, and it opens a lot of doors for students.
Thank you everyone for your presentations. That was great. I wish I could be a student again and retake all of these degrees. Yeah, anything you want to ask about relating to the content of these degrees, or maybe you're interested in what life is like living here in Aberdeen. We're happy to take questions.
I can read it first, if you don't mind. This for cultural heritage. Hi there. For the cultural heritage program, do we need to know which track we want to study when we apply, and when do we need to choose this?
Right. Yes, I found the questions now. Great. Thank you for this question. Yeah, we don't really distinguish that early. So when it comes to applying, you can discuss with me as you start the program. You'll make an initial choice for your first 2 courses, but there is an option to amend this. So within the first week as well, if you realize that you made a choice that you absolutely that is not working for you, there is like a grace period where you can change your optional course, for instance. So the track is not set in stone either. You can actually mix and match between archaeology courses and the anthropology and the communications course and the other options. So very free to mix and match these. These are just recommended tracks if you have a specific focus and interest in mind, that's all. So to take some of the optional courses in the MSC's Archaeology of Death, Biomolecule, and others, do we need specific experience, for example, in bioarchaeology? I see that Lotta has already answered this in writing, but maybe you want to say something about that, Linus, as well, or maybe Rebecca.
I can speak to the death course. So the Arc of Death, you don't need any experience in human remains. So it's we're not analyzing skeletons in that. It's really about the body itself. So no previous experience needed there, and you don't have to be doing anything to do with human remains either.
And same for ancient biomolecules, and as well as paleogenetics. We've tailored the content to be approachable to anyone, really. So we go from fairly introductory to advanced relatively quick, but it's designed in such a way that if you engage with the materials, there's no problem in doing well in those courses, regardless of your background.
Right. So we have a question about the optional courses, how they affect what they can do for the final research project. So for the heritage program, they don't really affect that at all. If you have a specific interest in mind, or if you do a work placement, the optional courses, they can help you if it's something that relates. But if it's not, it's still, it's not that big of a deal. So you can choose based on your own interest there. What about for the rest of you?
Yeah, the optional courses, they are, for MSc in Archaeology, is where you have the options rather than MSc Archaeology of the North. And if you're very, very interested in, for example, the Viking Age, you might want to do the Viking courses, and do a dissertation in within the Viking Age kind of theme. But we have had students who have done dissertations on Viking Age without doing the Viking Age courses. So it's definitely an option. It's as well. So you're not forced into anything by the optional courses, but it might provide you with the background that you need to do a kind of more in-depth dissertation on a topic. But with both Archaeology and Archaeology of the North, you have the choice of your own topic and your own design for the dissertation, research design for the dissertation. And as far as long as we can have the expertise in the department to supervise you, you can choose pretty much whatever you like. And we have managed to supervise most topics because we have a quite wide range of expertise within the department. So yeah.
Yeah, that could be a good thing to say too. I mean, we're a department. How many are we now? 12, 13? No,
we're 10.
We're 10. Oh, I always think
more.
So our last addition to our department was Edward Masson McLean, and he is a zooarchaeologist. So, for instance, there's also a lot of opportunities there if you're really into animal-human relations of different types. So he's supervised a lot of cool projects on birds and different types of species and how they interacted with humans in the distant past. We have
and that's applicable.
Mongolia, for example, as well. And what are you? Go, Linus.
Oh, that's applicable also to biomolecular archaeology. Someone like Eduard can straddle both kind of more traditional archaeology, dissertation-based research with perhaps more sciencey focused stuff we do for the dissertation in archaeological science. So there is a difference in the kind of in the way we set the dissertations, depending on. So we do have different dissertation courses for the different programs. Although we do run a lot of the dissertation seminars, writing workshops, and things like that as a single cohort.
Yeah, no, that's good to know. Absolutely. So yeah, lots of different types of expertise here. Jeff Oliver, for instance, as well, who's doing historical archaeology. Maybe you're interested in doing archaeology of the 19th century or even 20th century, and yeah, he can definitely help you there. So a good crew. The question, I mean, you might have all read the answers. I'm not sure if they're published as well. But for instance, we have a question about the field trips. So maybe you're worried, oh, I'm going to go to Shetland or I'm going to go Orkney, and maybe it will be a couple of £100. Can I afford that? But that's all included in our degrees. So if you're on our degrees, it's all going to be covered. And that includes also food and things like that. So we'll cook together on these trips, and it's a great fun experience. The research. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Elizabeth.
Go ahead, Linus. Yeah, no, I'm looking.
Someone has commented that they've read that archaeology research at the university dates back to the 1500s. That might very well be correct. I'm not sure. Certainly not in the current iteration. As Lotta mentioned, that the department is fairly new, so it's established in 2007. And as Elizabeth kind of mentioned, we only have, 10, 11 permanent staff, but each staff member has a very kind of unique, non-overlapping expertise with the other staff. So we have a very, very broad range of expertise, which reflects in the dissertation topics.
Yeah, and it makes it kind of fun too, because some, professors usually here have their own research projects. They have their own field ventures that they're doing every year. Some people like we have like Josh that I was saying that focuses on Mongolia for a lot of his research. He's taking 2 students there this year. So there's some opportunities too to go out for field work in the summers if you have a specific interest, and if you reach out to the professors that are doing these kind of excavations and things. So it's all about making the most of your degree when you're here if you want to go on these trips as well.
Next, we have a question about the size of the cohort. So the total number of MSc students tend to range between 25 and 30. And you do get opportunity to meet and kind of mix across the program. So it's very, we kind of pride ourselves, I guess, in having, so we have a master's homeroom where you can, with computers, and it's a big kind of seminar room where that you have free access to. We do a bit of teaching in there, but otherwise it's free for you to use to, for studying when you write your essays and things like that. There's coffee, brewer or whatever it's called, and I think there used to be a microwave or well, whatever, but there's a kitchen too. But the point I'm trying to make is that that size cohort is very good for kind of general interaction and getting to know everyone if you like that. In terms of the individual programs, well, you divide that over the number of programs we have, and you get a good estimate for the number of students on each program. It varies a little bit. The individual courses range from 5-6 students up to 15-16 students. So generally quite small, which is good for things like seminars, asking questions in lectures and just getting to know your lectures. So good sized cohort, but not too big.
No, it's been good already, especially with the dissertation courses. We like to put you all together so you can, learn from each other's experience going through the dissertation process as well. So there's a lot of opportunities there to sort of to chat and interact and make friends. Well, I mean, for the fall, you asked specifically, it ranges a bit from program to program, but we're hoping and we're looking at a cohort of at least 30. So there will be a lot of you. When it comes to, we have a question about online, and we are working on developing a dedicated online degree for MSc Archaeology here at Aberdeen, but currently we do expect you to be at campus and to be in our seminars on a weekly basis. And if that's very difficult under a short period, we can maybe make arrangements, depends, it's something we have to negotiate. But in generally, we do expect the students to be here on campus also because that's how you get that, the experience, the learning experience and working with the other students as well in the cohort.
Certain courses might have exceptions, but it needs to be negotiated on a course basis with the course coordinators for leeway in terms of not attending lectures and things like that. But normally there's flexibility where we can allow flexibility.
But I will also want to point out that there is flexibility when there is reason for flexibility. So we have made accommodations for students with provisions, for example, but as a regular basis, we do not offer online options. So if you're interested in online, you have to wait a couple of years for the online program.
But yeah, we're very approachable. So for any sort of questions about your specific situation, just email us and we can talk about it. So yeah.
We had one kind of follow-up question on how many are there on the biomolecular archaeology MSc this autumn. I would guess 5-6 students, something like that, if in combination with other students taking the core courses, so ancient biomolecules and paleogenetics. You would look at, for ancient biomolecules, probably around 15-16 students, paleogenetics probably around 8-9 students. There was also a question about scholarships, I see. So, and Margaret from our who organized this, from our marketing team, has replied with a link to the available scholarships. But again, I would like to highlight the £8,000 international fee discount can be considered a kind of blanket scholarship type deal.
Yes, indeed. We also have a question about, yeah, the Archaeology Museum at the university. It's, I would say our collections are amazing. When it comes to a specific archaeology museum, we don't have it as such, but we have an amazing range of collections that students use for their projects. And we have people who specifically work with in the museum collections of the university to you sort of bring those out and do exhibitions on a regular basis and things like that. So yeah, I mean, Linus, you had a couple of students even working with specific items in those collections, haven't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So kind of it's a really neat way of combining kind of cutting edge biomolecular methods. So zooms in this case with the style of archaeology that perhaps Lotta would be more used with in the Vikings courses, or like an object study, so in-depth study of a particular object, just using a particular suite of methods that happens to be biomolecular. So a kind of not site, but an object biography combined with the new types of data that we can extract using biomolecular methods. And we've had a couple of really good collaborative projects together with Rebecca in terms of studying individual skeletons for osteobiography, but then combine that with biomolecular methods to add more depth to that kind of understanding of an individual.
The students also show all of these amazing things, the work they do to each other in seminars and things as well. So you get to hear about your colleagues' exciting projects.
Oh yeah, how many seminars do we run per year? I think we run 3 seminars, right, where students present their ideas, they get feedback, and can work with that feedback up until they present a full dissertation proposal, and after that, presenting the initial research in a seminar and getting feedback until you hit semester 3, where you can really dive deep for a couple of months into finalizing that dissertation project.
Mm-hmm. And then the field trips are also many students coming from different parts of the cohort to joining those. So plenty of opportunity there.
There's a question here. If we choose the same optional courses, will we get to study alongside other students on the same other archaeology programs? And Lotta said yes. And that kind of goes back to what I said earlier about integration and and so on too. And very much so, yes. You study alongside other students from other programs.
All right. For those of you still there, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you got the answers to some of your questions. And as we said, if you have more, just email us. Otherwise, yeah, I look forward to seeing you. Hopefully not too long from now.